it's so good.
I love how Nora claps. I think that's what it is.
Kind of doing a Zoom clap. You can't do a full,
Yeah.
My agent saw the casting breakdown and it said you had to memorize something. I said, hell no.
I have all of the good qualities of an overachieving Asian and a gay interior designer.
Hi, I'm Teresa Hsiao, and welcome to Entertainment Weekly's Around the Table with the cast of Awkwafina as Nora from Queens. So we have Awkwafina as Nora, Lori Chinn as Grandma, BD Wong as Wally, and Bowen Yang as Edmund. Super happy to have you guys here with us.
It was the plastic.
It absolutely was not the plastic.
That don't smell like the plastic, Ma.
It was a fart. That was a fart, Grandma.
Awkwafina, the first question is sort of for you. The show is kind of loosely based on your life growing up. Can you tell us a bit about how it got started and how it all came together?
Yes, I can. But before that, I love how you're acting like we like don't know each other.
I don't know.
Okay, just for context, this is like executive producer of our show, not just a random person that wandered in here. That's like, why? I don't want him covering this. Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
The show is loosely based on your life growing up. How can you tell us a little bit about how it came together with your lovely co-creator?
Oh, you. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's that lovely
only say good things.
This came about a long time ago. I would say maybe 5 or 6 years ago by now.
Feels like more.
Right. Which might not be a good thing, but no, which is it's always a good thing. But I remember it changed a lot. And ultimately, I met you and Teresa Hsiao, my great co-creator, writer, executive producer, all that. And I knew instantly that I felt like when you do a show about your life, it's like you're kind of a little cautious about what you might want to talk about. And I think that it just felt organic and good. And it's turned into something of its own. So thank you, Teresa, for all your hard work that you genuinely do put in.
Did she encourage you to be less cautious?
Oh. Well, no, I think I just when people are like, let's do a thing about a show about your life, what does that mean? You know what I mean? I think there is, it's a comedy, but there are existential questions about like, what really am I going to talk about? And then if the format sucks, did that mean that the format of my life sucked? You know what I mean? So no, but those questions come up, sure. But I think I only wanted to go into those actual life events with someone that I trusted. And I think that I trusted to tell it with me. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was amazing to kind of go through this journey with you from like the very beginning 5 years ago.
Why are you
I don't know.
This is not how you normally do.
I know. I'm trying to be a host. I'm hosting.
I can't leave your room without catching Hep C.
Good one.
Uh-oh, somebody's gonna be late again.
Hey, that's my underwear.
We're wearing Grandma's underwear.
No, I'm not wearing Grandma's underwear. These are my underwears. I bought these from the 99-cent store.
But for Lori, BD, and Bowen, I would love to hear about how you guys got involved with the show. And Lori, why don't you kick it off?
My agent saw the casting breakdown and it said, New York City hired. So that was ding, 1 point. And it said Comedy Central, ding, 2 points. I said, yeah, okay. I have a chance to try something comedic. And then that was it. And they said, you have to memorize something. I said, hell no. and then they said, now you can put it on camera. So I held the script on camera. And then the casting person said, now you have to go off book. And I said, hell no again. And then for some reason, she put on another scene that they wanted me to memorize. And I was doing a stage musical at the time. And I had to really concentrate because the orchestration was really complicated. I just couldn't take time, to memorize sides. So I said, hell no, thrice. And then they came with an offer, which I couldn't refuse.
What a beautiful origin story.
Yeah. Really.
Wow.
And kids, that's how you book in Hollywood. Say, hell no when they ask you to memorize it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, when
BD, when we met, we actually had a conversation before you took this job. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think I always, like one does, I was really interested and always having to ask questions about, well, how much does the real person in real life, what their role actually is in the show, and how much of a character have they become that's maybe different, and how much wiggle room is there, and how much creativity is there, and it makes me a little nervous sometimes to kind of honor somebody who's living and they're going to watch it and they're very close to the creator and the star of the show. And oh my gosh, it's very like a big thing kind of. So I guess I wanted to know a little bit more about what that was and what that would be like for me. And it turned out great. I haven't met in real life Wally that many times, but his presence is very strong,
Yes, it is.
And it's just a very kind of, it's just always there. And I think in the second season, I'm getting to know a little bit about what he can be, whether or not it aligns with what he is like in real life or not. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it's enhanced or dramatized or made more funny or whatever. And that's kind of what's nice about the show. There's a fluidity about it that's really nice creatively. For me. But
for you, it's like you're, because you talk about how you haven't really done TV comedy before.
Not like this. No.
Not like this. But then there's the added layer of like, this is sort of a facsimile of like a real person's life. And so that is like a really weird negotiation. But I think like the character of Wally is so great though. And I feel like
I feel like you're more of Wally than Wally is Wally sometimes.
Oh my God.
One thing that was really cool about you and Lori, because Bowen, you're not really based on a real character, but you both were like very serious about that. You guys felt a pressure because they are real people. I never really occurred to me. I was like, you guys are going to be so good. It's like, what, but it's like that respect, I think, for the process and for the people. You both definitely asked a lot of questions, and I think really wanted to know more.
Yeah, you want to get it right, but you also want to be creative, and you have to kind of do both. And what the ideal thing would be to do both, and that would be really nice. And I'm not. It's no exaggeration. I really want you to be pleased personally. I really don't want you.
I'm so pleased.
Negotiate. I'm not asking you to. Yeah, I mean,
no, I am. Right? It's so right? Good.
It kind of like every, so I look for signs that I could improve or whatever, or change or whatever, and we find our way of communicating these things to each other, and that has been really fun. Actually, it hasn't been like any other job actually, but I know I haven't done this kind. I hadn't done improv really in such a long time. I really think that has been a really big part of my enjoyment of it.
You
it's just
work
like,
it. You do
like
so good.
Trying to just like let go of everything. And I was simultaneously doing Mr. Robot, and that was super strict, scripted, and this is totally different.
Somebody's gonna be late again.
Because Grandma woke me on the wrong side of the bed this morning. Hey, don't blame it on me. I shouldn't be your alarm clock. Then don't be. You don't have to be my alarm clock. There's technology for that now.
Remember when she thought she could get alone? I don't even know how she functions.
She's like that chipmunk tornado.
Yeah, what?
And Bowen, you kind of came into this project a little bit different. First of all, congratulations on a recent Emmy nomination for Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Nora. I don't know why Nora clapping just tickled me.
It's so good. So good.
I love how Nora claps. I think that's what it is. This
it's kind of
doing a Zoom clap. You can't do a full,
Yeah.
You just gotta. But I do.
But it is. It's exactly right. There's not even much more to say about it. It's so good.
Oh,
it's like
stop.
But for once in your life, something that somebody deserves, something really it happens. And people notice the way that, Asian Americans, we always notice each other, right? It does mean something to us when the the world at large notices us. That's really satisfying.
Oh, thanks.
And you got to write your own stuff.
And co-wrote with a lot of great writers. I did come in a different way. I just kind of auditioned in this way that was very fortuitous because I was like, oh my gosh, I happened to be in LA when you guys were casting out of LA. Or just holding auditions in LA. I think you guys had like a big pool of people to choose from. Maybe I might be wrong, but then I happened to be in LA when you guys were doing auditions in LA, and then got brought in to do another round in New York. And so it was like, I don't know, just felt very glamorous to do like a bi-coastal audition and then meet with Lucia and Teresa and Carrie, and I think Nora was there in the room too. Like it was just. And it was just something that I knew was really rare because I was like, when do you ever come across like an Asian American family sitcom? And I don't know, just the character was so funny. That first scene where Edmund's in town and getting dinner with the family is just like, I don't know, like just a perfectly written scene, especially just for him to be such a jerk. And so, that was it. I think we auditioned with that scene. So that was my way in.
Yeah, because Edmund wasn't originally written. I originally had someone like a Ronnie Chang, just like a kind of like a broy, and then you are such a gift, it's like, I don't think we even anticipated what Edmund would become, I think. And like, sometimes I just like to leave it open, man. Like just when we're writing for you, I feel like there's like,
he's pure passive.
You're so good.
Oh, thanks. He's all suffering, which I.
But he's a jerk, but he's actually like not. He's pretty nice,
He's transitioned, I think, too, from first season to second season to where we are now, and he's become much more vulnerable. I mean, he was very vulnerable in the end of season 1. That's true. But like he's become, I don't know, we've gotten to know him a little bit better. He doesn't seem like a sight gag or a insertion. Sure. When he's like a member of the family.
He is a member of the family.
What are we talking about? Like nonprofit work, charity work,
acting.
Los Angeles, here we go!
Yes! And in season 1, obviously we had so many memorable moments for everybody, like Nora with our 800 hairstyles and Grandma starting a grandma and grandma sort of food court fight. And then Wally, of course, your accidental dick pic, and Edmund, your sort of tech disaster. So without giving too much away,
real life things, by the way,
real life things.
Yeah.
This was offset. Facts.
Yeah. This didn't actually happen in season 1.
Yeah. Right.
But without giving too much away for season 2, kind of what are your characters up to this season?
I think my character always kind of tragically and also, obviously ends up kind of back where she kind of started from. But I think in this season, we do see that there are some improvements that are being made and there are some changes. And I also think that, she has evolved into someone who is a little bit more aware about what she should be doing right now. So it was cool to see her do that. Yeah.
BD, how about what's Wally up to in season 2?
Well, I think in season 1, Wally's conflict with Nora about how he should micromanage what his daughter's actually doing with her life was a bit of a conflict for him. That's how I see it. And in the course of season 1, he got to know this woman and started dating again, which was a whole new world for him. And so in season 2, he's gotten to know this woman much better. And in his personal life, that has created something that's very nice for him and kind of something that's kind of new. And that yet at the same time, it causes him to evaluate the role of Nora in that, Nora's role in the success of his relationship as a young woman who's didn't grow up with her mom and who scrutinizes the quality of every woman that Wally dates and how important it is to him that she be happy. And so that becomes a big a kind of arc in season 2 among a few other things. But I think the relationship between Brenda is one that kind of blossoms in a way. I was really happy to see that happen because I was hoping that would happen.
And Lori, I think, so many of us loved that grandma scene and also that grandma episode from season 1. And this time your grandma crew is heavily featured. And you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, you got to watch it. You got to watch this. How can I give it away? is that, yeah, I have my posse, my gang that I hang out with, and they execute whatever capers we happen. And it is full of capers. And also the recurring end of a lot of the episodes is that Nora comes through the door and she's home, and I'm the waiting home for her. Mm-hmm. So I think that's even more special this season. There are very special close scenes that I can't wait to see that really touch me. And you're not going to understand this, but, you know, I've just been craving eating ramen noodles.
Oh, what could that mean?
What could that mean? You'll have to watch and see.
It's like Lori's version of an Easter egg, I think. Look for it.
You'll see when episode 208, 209, 210, 209, I think. 210. You'll see why the ramen noodles. It makes she's thinking, and she's, you know.
I love you, Lori.
I love you too.
Spoiler alert: ramen noodles.
Ramen noodles.
Yes.
I think the whole thing is much emotionally deeper, and I really appreciated that. I really liked that.
Yeah.
Not without taking any away of the kind of craziness of its identity, which it is. It has a really wacky kind of funny way about it. But then this other stuff, these relationships get deeper, I think.
I can speak to that because you end on season one with Edmund sort of failing up in a way, like his app is a disaster, and yet it could still potentially be bought out and acquired, and he walks away with a huge payday or whatever. And then I think at the beginning of this season, he is like immediately caught up in scandal again, and then humbled in like, I think, a real way this time. Then it ends up like setting him on this path with Nora, where I think like for the first time you see them really like actually start to understand each other. I think season one, it was just pure antagonizing.
Rivalry. Yeah.
Yeah. But now I think like from the beginning of this season, when you see Edmund again, and I think in 204 is when, there's something different about the relationship between Nora and Edmund going forward. And I think it's
with the same elements of sibling rivalry that are really funny, that are still in it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like I feel like it's somewhat rare for a family sitcom to have three different generations like equally represented, like Nora and I in one, you know, Wally in another, and then Grandma in another, where all three stories sort of like there's some relatability to all of these things. I don't know. I just think that's cool.
I think you're right, because the skipping of the generation, that relationship, the 1 and 3 relationship is really interesting. The 1 and 2 and the 2 and 3 relationship, they're all different.
Yeah.
And then you do get to see, I mean, I think my relationship with Lori, right up to the very end, there is a really nice, what feels very real to me, mother-son relationship, specifically Chinese-American mother-son relationship, but really there's no way it won't be universal. I really liked the way the season ended. I mean, if it still ends the same way, Teresa, I guess you know.
We totally rewrote
it. Yeah, no.
We had to throw the whole thing
yesterday.
out.
It's animated now, so.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But it is important for the viewers, especially Asian, and maybe even more specifically Chinese, that they can see the different generations and identify. If they don't know, feel comfortable with even the younger generation, they're going to understand the next generation and my generation. I'm probably the last who will be able to speak that dialect, which was, I understand the original Chinese, the archaic Chinese Hoisan dialect. So, you know, once I'm gone, you know, hopefully the younger generation's going to understand or appreciate, you know, how far that journey has been from, the people, original people leaving East Africa and going on all over the place.
Hey, that's my underwear. Yes.
We're wearing Grandma's underwear.
No, I'm not wearing Grandma's underwear. These are my underwears. I bought these in the 99-cent store.
You break it, you buy it. She's wearing it. I don't think you're going to get it back now.
Too lazy. Found it.
Oh, it's the holy vape.
It's camouflage, so it's harder to find.
You need that, don't you, for work?
Yeah.
Now you can work.
Yeah, and guess what?
And
guess what? You two are mean-spirited.
Oh, come on. I'm sorry. Come back and have some breakfast, princess.
Well, I think one thing that our show also does is it kind of portrays the Asian American experience, which I think is this really eccentric, nonsensical hodgepodge of elements of both cultures. And the food, like a kitchen where you'd have like, the fish sauce or stir fry and frosted flakes, and even the way that grandma's room was decorated, which had a lot of props, like from Lori's Real House. Our set deck loved that. And no, really. And
spoiler alert.
yeah, right. Yeah. We see Lori's room.
Grandma's room.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that I personally haven't seen a show that shows that kind of the good and bad of that experience. Yeah.
Yeah. And it does so while backing off of being Chinese or taking the focus off of being Asian American. Really, we never talk about it. We don't. Bowen and I have had some conversations about this phenomenon of how much you talk about and how much you don't talk about, and what the audience gets from that subliminally or concretely. And I think it's really amazing. It needs to be pointed out to some people, actually, that you do see we're not talking about being Chinese. Our Chineseness is really like pretty authentic. Chinese Americanness, especially, as evident in the kitchen and the set dressing and the things we're doing and the situations we're in and our relationships, but we're not victimized or talking about or othering ourselves by kind of, showing the differences of what we are. We're actually kind of matriculated.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing. I really, Teresa and we came at this at a place where I wanted it to reflect the reality, Yeah. And I think that our characters talk about that experience of being Chinese just about as much as we probably did growing up,
Yeah.
It's a reality that you just don't have to address on a daily basis, but is addressed through all these different ways.
It's always contextualized within like another culture, whether it's like Queens at large, or if it's like the tech world or like showbiz or, all of these things. It's like, I think that's what's always so cool, is that it's always modulated and it's modulated with something else. But we're not that explicit with like the Asianness of it, right. I just think that's so interesting.
And I think it goes against this instinct in the industry to do that, to write in a certain obvious voice, or to assume that what people want to see is that discussion. And when you deprive them of it or steer in a different direction, it's amazingly refreshing and really appreciated by, I certainly think as Asian Americans, as audience members, we appreciate it. And also it's just deeper and more real.
I think something that we're all really proud of is just the fact that we have a predominantly Asian American cast, and also behind the scenes, like a really strong, diverse crew, over 50% women and people of color on our crew and department heads and everything. And I think that really was representative of, our staff, but also the love of you guys, like really demanding being part of the creative process as well. And that kind of segues into, I really want to be able to sort of say that BD, this was your TV directorial debut in season 2, and wanted to, what was it like working behind the camera and also directing yourself and also these other amazing actors here?
Oh, these actors are horrible. They're terrible. It was really what I really had always hoped it would be. And I had been putting it off and had skipped over lots of opportunities to direct episodic episodes because I thought it would just be not fun for me. And I really think if I was going to do it, I would have to do it with something I cared about and with people I really liked. And I got to do that this time. And so it was great. It was really, really a great perspective to have. It felt great it just felt really, really fun. I really enjoyed it. And then it was also an episode that I cared about. I cared about how Wally was sharing himself in this episode and how he would come across, I guess, or really, to be quite honest, how real Wally would feel about it. And I think we all are proud of it. I like it.
We're very proud of it.
Really,
yes.
Yeah, it's really multi-layered, quite tackling of the script, your debut. And really, it was amazing how you just, took control and, directed that thing. It was very, very multi-layered. That's the best way I could explain it.
And you really did handle it with such care, and you made certain things, there was, not to give too much away, but that episode really does explore a lot of the deeper emotional stuff that we're talking about here. And It wasn't an easy episode to write, and I would imagine to direct or act in. It was just one of the more challenging ones, and that it was very different. And I think just seeing the way that you handled not only the experience that Wally's going through, more personal aspects to me and my family, but also the arrangements of the pillows and the colors, and you go in there, you're like, I'm just doing it myself. And I was really impressed by that. And I think it was really cool to work with someone who knew the show and the characters so well. I think that helped a lot with it.
I have all of the good qualities of an overachieving Asian and a gay interior designer.
That's what you'll get. You hire BD.
So that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I've been going out with Brenda for a while now. This could be serious.
What do you mean serious? Serious? Oh my God.
Well, also in that episode, Alan Kim ends up playing young Wally.
Yeah. Oh my God. Alan Kim, so good. Made everyone cry.
Cry, laugh, but
cry,
really,
laugh, all of it.
Cry, laugh, everything. It really, we were really lucky and happy to get him. What a fun day. What a fun time I had with him. We all had with him. He's a very special kid.
Absolutely. And we had so many great other guest stars throughout the season. If you guys want to talk a little bit about some of the people who are on the show season 2.
Bowen's colleague, Chloe Fineman comes to mind.
Chloe Fineman we had Chloe Fineman. We had one of my favorite stand-up comedians growing up, Judy Gold, was on
All American Gold was on All American Girl. She was a regular.
Oh, yeah, right. Yes.
And Margaret Cho.
Yes,
we had Margaret Cho. We had Carrie Kenny Silver, Fortune Feimster,
Haley Joel Osment,
Haley Joel Osment, Kate Curtin from Orange is the New Black, that I'm a huge fan of. And what's cool about this is that, I really do feel like for some of the actors and also for you three, I will say, Bowen, your role was a little bit different, but BD and Lori, y'all were my first choice. So, I didn't care. You didn't matter if you memorized lines or not, Lori. Like, you are the woman that I could see doing this. And you guys are just like so amazing. And any actor that I think comes onto the show is doing it for a genuine love of I think the work, and and then they're just cool for coming on the show. It really feels like that. We had C.S. Lee and Aaron Takahashi, who were two of my favorite guys. Yes.
They were my first choice, actually, when people asked me, who do you want to play your old high school buddies? And I immediately thought of them both, and they really were really great. That day I spent with them was really, really fun. But they had that spirit of pride and enthusiasm that Nora's talking about.
Yeah, not to toot your horn, Nora, but I think a lot of the great guest stars that we got on the show were really excited to work with you and with all of you guys, with Lori and Bowen and BD. Like, it's so many people come to me and they say, like, they want to do the show because they love you guys. And that's the really nice thing to see. So this has been Entertainment Weekly's Around the Table with Awkwafina's Nora from Queens. Check out season 2 on Comedy Central on August 18th.